What is up, everybody, and welcome back to the Pause Mini Podcast. This is a monthly series where me and my good buddy Kyril sit back, talk about games, talk about life, and anything else that's been on our minds. So grab a drink, get comfy, and let's hit pause. What is up, dude? It's good to hear from you.
What's up, man? Likewise. And I want to actually congratulate you on 8,000 subscribers. That's awesome, man.
Dude, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Yeah, it's I've said this a lot, but it feels the same as when I hit like a few hundred, it's just like, wow, there's a lot more people out here that think like I do than I thought or than I gave credit for on this space,
Yeah, and actually I want to say thank you to everybody who watched the last pause menu. We got a lot of comments there. I don't think we had too many questions, but I really appreciate all the support. That was really cool.
Yeah, it was super cool. It seemed like the people that watched it really, really loved it. And I know there's been a lot of people who have been commenting and asking, when's the next episode? I think for us, this monthly pace works pretty good for right now. Being able to meet up, once a month and get a video out at the end of the month, I think is a good pace for this.
Yeah, I think in the future it might be able to change a bit, but
yeah,
as far as right now, this works out the best. But
definitely,
yeah, man, that's super cool. I mean, here, in terms of like how everything's going, it's been raining and it's been snowing and it's been like slushy, and so video games have been my lifeline recently.
Yes,
I've been playing a lot of games, and yeah, I'm excited to talk about what we have been playing.
Dude, same here though. Like, we had one of the worst winters we've ever had here. Like, we got like over a foot of snow. I think there were some places around where I live that were reporting like 18, 19 inches of snow, which is just like, I think the last time it did that, there was like an actual blizzard around here. So like, It was crazy. So we were super cooped up and, like you said, just been gaming a lot.
So what have you been playing lately?
Well, I got a new PC. It's been years and years and years since I've had a PC. I used to be like a PC gamer, kind of mixed with like my PlayStation 2 and PlayStation 3. So I've been doing a lot of just sampling. I haven't really gotten into like the meat of a game in a long time because, you get a new PC and you're like, how does this run? How does this run? Or like, let's see, like try all the settings and this, So I've been playing a lot of I played a lot of indies and stuff because I got PC, like my computer came with a month of PC Game Pass. So I played I've been putting in some time into Manor Lords. There's like a little medieval like town builder thing. That's been super fun.
Yeah.
And actually me and my little brother, we started a Minecraft world for like the first time in 5 years. And we've been playing that like every weekend. That's been super, super fun. But other than that, I actually played a bit of the Final Fantasy VII remake. I've been kind of getting into that on the PlayStation. I think I just got past the part where it's like the motorcycle like sword fight.
Yeah.
Like that part. I just got through that part. So I'm thinking I'm kind of wanting to put a little time into that, like off in between me playing like Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, which is like the main thing I want to focus on, which is kind of what I talked about in the last video, that I'm wanting to kind of devote some more time into one big game at a time and have your like usual cozy games and stuff like that rotating around. But like, I really want to get into this one this time and get to the blacksmithing DLC that I got.
Nice. That's awesome. I think the world needs some Strider Minecraft videos.
Strider Minecraft streams.
Yeah. You got the
I think
cozy
that'd
vibes
be so fun
for it, man.
Yeah. I've actually had some people in the Discord try to bug me into making a like community Minecraft server. And I was like, man, if I ever figure that out, I think that could be kind of fun.
Yeah. As for me though, I've been playing, so if you guys know me, I have been playing and pretty much obsessed with the Resident Evil series, and I am playing Resident Evil 4 Remake. And I told my little brother that I think this might be my favorite game since I played Death Stranding 1.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's been so fun. In the beginning, I was kind of like, okay, it's a little bit different than, 2 and 3. It's a little bit more like open worldy,
Mm-hmm.
and the combat is a lot different, but it makes sense story wise because at this point Leon is he's more trained up. He's working like with the U.S. Government.
Yeah.
Not that he really wanted to, I guess. I don't, but yeah, he's kind of like a special agent at this point. So the
Mm-hmm.
combat feels a little bit more fast paced and more like that he can handle it. I know because in 2 and 3, you know, they're both him, Claire, they are, you know, had just having their worst day of their life.
Yeah.
So but it's been so fun, and the
Yeah.
whole treasure seeking and selling and the merchant, it's such a cool
Yep.
experience. And besides that though, I don't want to make this a whole podcast about Resident Evil 4, but
It's a great game though.
yeah.
I've played a good bit of the Resident Evil 4 remake. I didn't end up finishing it, but I got to the part where you meet up with what's his name? Who's the guy with like the long like brown hair?
Luis.
Luis. Yeah, when you first meet up with Luis, I
Ah,
actually
okay.
like kind of like I ended up playing something else, but I was really and like that combat is so fun. And I love that like I love how cheesy some of it is too. Like that whole line where he's like, "Where's everybody going? Bingo."
Yeah.
It's such a good line,
It's
dude.
I think it balances out really well too. Like
Mm-hmm.
how Leon's just like this,
Yes.
you know, freak of nature when it comes to combat, and he's fighting these horrific eldritch horrors, and then he
Yeah.
just drops like the dumbest line in the world, and it's just it's so
Exactly.
funny.
I love it. Yeah, it makes it like campy in that like really endearing way. That like
Yeah.
just it's such a good balance, I think, to the tone of it.
Besides that though, I really just wasn't having a great week this week, but my
Yeah.
wife, she ended up surprising me with 2 games. But I got Neo 3 and Hades 2.
Ooh, nice.
And I've been hearing nothing but great things about Neo 3, to be
Mm-hmm.
honest. I think it's a lot of, I know the year just started, but I think people are really enjoying it a lot so far. And I haven't played a good Souls-like in a while.
Yeah.
And so I might get cooked in the comments for this, but like I haven't really played Neo 1 and 2, but
Me
the
either.
good thing is that I guess they kind of give you a recap, and I'm pretty sure you play an entirely different person. And
Interesting.
I don't really know too much about the entire story so far, but you have like these 2 modes which you can switch from mid combat. It's a like ninja style and a samurai style, and you're actively like getting different gear and weapons. And it's honestly, the combat is just so good. And yesterday I just got the first boss of the game. I just died like 20 plus times too. But it was so fun.
Yeah, I never played Neo 1, or I think I played a little bit of Neo 2. I think that might have been on like PS Plus at one point. And so I think I dipped my toes into that a little bit, and I got so overwhelmed, dude. Like that was I tried out Neo and I was like, dude, this is a lot. This is a lot to take in.
Yeah, I think it's sort of like Sekiro.
Yeah.
You know, not just in like the aesthetics, but also like the gameplay wise. It seems pretty
Mhm.
fast paced like that.
Yes.
But besides that, I can talk a little bit about the PS3.
Yes, please do, dude. I've been
yeah.
wanting to get into that.
So I recently bought a PS3 on eBay, and for those who don't know, the PS3 was probably what I played the most in my childhood. I probably, you know, beat my PS3 to death. Like how many hours I put into that console.
Same.
But I got one from eBay, and I saw it, and I had this thought like, hey, I don't know, I get a little bit skeeved out sometimes when I buy stuff
Yeah.
online, and I'm like, well, I want to give it, you know, the self-love, the love and tender care that I think it deserves.
Yes.
So
Yes.
maybe we'll crack this thing open and see how it's doing. And what's crazy is that the PS3 actually had like warranty stickers on it and stuff. And
That's
so
crazy. Yeah,
I-
actually, and you should send me those pictures too, and I'll put those up
Yeah.
while you're talking about it, because I'd love to show everybody what we're talking about here.
Totally. And so I cracked it open, and I'm just start breathing in this 2006, you know, dust. And
Takes you straight back.
yeah. And so this thing was pretty filthy. It was very dirty. Like, good thing it wasn't as dirty as I've seen
Yeah.
some YouTube videos and stuff. But like no bugs or anything. I've seen that. That's so gross. It was just dusty. Like, it's been used. And so I was able to clean that up, and I got out of my comfort zone, and it taught me a lot about just the PS3's hardware. And I think when you strip something down to like base components like that, maybe, like building a PC or doing this, for example, I had so much more love and appreciation for the hardware and just this thing. I was like, this is so cool, and this is mine. And, I'm really putting a lot of time and effort into this, and it means a lot to me. And so I added a new fresh coat of thermal paste because...
Nice.
I'll also send you the pictures of that, because the thermal paste was from 2006 or a little bit prior to that, when I guess Sony released it, but it was all cracked and just totally dried out. And so I had to, take the isopropyl alcohol and rub it down so that it was nice and shiny, and then I applied a nice new coat of thermal paste. It's by Duranaut, and apparently that's like eons better than whatever they had in 2006. So
wow,
I think I added like 10 to 15 years on this console's life.
Probably.
And
that's just crazy too. Is like, that's such a testament to these pieces of hardware too, that like this thing is still holding up this many years later, and that thing was used, and it's just crazy how durable some of these things are,
Yeah, and honestly, it was running pretty well too before I even, I was testing it out, and it was just a little bit loud. Yeah. But it was crazy because the power supply, where like the modem literally hooks into the power supply, was full of just dust, and it was like a straight up fire hazard. Like, if this just caught a little bit of a spark, like the entire thing's going up in flames.
That is so crazy.
But I've been really enjoying just trying to look for PS3 games. I only have one little game store near me, but I've been able to pick up some cool copies of games. So I've been kind of playing Kingdoms of Amalur: Reckoning.
Oh, fun.
Yeah. For those of you who don't know the game, it actually came out just a few months after Skyrim did. Like, literally just as 2012 started. I think maybe January or February. And so it didn't have the greatest start to the game's life.
That sucks for them. I knew about that game, but I don't think I realized its release cycle. Those poor guys.
Because obviously
they released it
11/11/11
right after a game that's gonna last the next 15 years.
Yeah, but I mean, people might know the game because they just had the Re-Reckoning.
The Re-Reckoning, yeah.
Yeah, so that's pretty cool. But I'm playing the game as I knew it in 2012, and that's so cool. I just love hearing the console boot up and just the whir of the disc inside and making all these
noise. The menu sounds.
The X and B, the little ticks when you go by.
I miss it. I miss that kind of UI design, and I was actually super happy when, for a little bit, PlayStation, PS5, made it so you could use some of those old sounds and stuff with it took me straight back. I love that old UI design.
But it's cool
except the store.
Yeah, oh man, this just navigating the actual typing it in, you have to go down the entire alphabet.
Yep, I remember.
What the heck? But what's cool is that this PlayStation, obviously, the X and B, the UI of the actual console, there's no ads. There's nothing trying to draw you into what game you might be missing. Obviously, the console's pretty old now, but it's not trying to sell you anything else. It's just hey, this is what you can do. Yeah. So what do you want to do?
This is where you play your games on, and that's it. That's all it's for,
And I like to add that I've been recently trying to get my CD collection up too. I have 2 CDs by Sleep Token. Take
Nice.
Me Back to Eden, and even in Arcadia. And
Nice. Sweet.
what's so cool about the PS3 is that you can natively just rip those
Yeah.
CDs to the
Yeah.
console. That is like mind-boggling. The PS5 can't read CDs.
Yeah.
So you can just straight up play a CD in the
That's so
PS3.
cool. Yeah, I remember the media screen, like the screen that it would play
Yeah.
when you'd play. So you can like cycle through some different
Yeah.
things, can't you?
Yeah,
I
see,
remember doing that.
there's cool, like, you could probably download more online. So
Mm.
my PS3 is not jailbroken or anything. It's just the
Yeah,
base PS3. And I kind of just wanted it because I wanted to experience just the nostalgia of it. Like,
yeah,
I don't know. I have a PC that I don't really use too much. I have my PS5, I have a Switch 2, and I wanted this as a sort of like not only just to play games but also experience, 2006 again, I
yeah,
guess.
dude. Yeah, I think that's like a great segue into like multiple gaming ecosystems too, and
Yeah.
how having each piece of hardware have its own, unique theme and identity, so you're not constantly like rebuying the same games on different systems or things like that, because that's been something that's been going through my head with getting the PC, and just making sure that each space has its like dedicated thing that I'm going to do on that for the time that I'm playing.
Yeah, I think that so those of you who actually are on PC and play games on PC, whether you have like your main box and then maybe you have a Steam Deck or something like that. I think it's so cool because you guys, once you buy the license to a game, you own it on your Steam account forever, right?
Yep.
So like you can, and what's cool is that you don't have to pay for this. It's like Steam saves, like the cloud saves. It goes up to the Steam cloud, and then you can just pick up where you left off on a different
Yeah,
device.
that's so cool.
Yeah, Valve is pretty awesome, man. They're
Yeah,
very
and I've been rebuilding up my Steam library after like a 10-year, probably longer. No, it's probably about 10 years, like a 10-year gap in buying anything on Steam.
yeah.
But so for me, like the PC has definitely been delegated to like some cool indie games that you can only play through Steam, like I mentioned
yeah.
earlier, like Manor Lords, things like that. Half Sword is another one I've been messing around with. I got the demo for Half Sword, which is like a little medieval fighting game where you just like flail around and try to fight your opponent with different like combat techniques.
Dude,
But I can't play those anywhere but PC. So the PC is delegated to that kind of stuff. It's dedicated to Minecraft with my little brother, and it's dedicated to modded Bethesda games, like modded Skyrim, modded Fallout, things like that. Things I can't do on the console. In the console, like my PS5, that's kind of dedicated to my AAA, Sony exclusive, that kind of stuff gets played on there. Your third person action games, things like that. And my Switch is where I play the Nintendo stuff. So I kind of have all those ecosystems that I know what I'm going to be playing on them whenever I boot them up.
Yeah, I will say that, with the next gen consoles and stuff, that pretty much a lot of the times what PC gets, also consoles get. I don't know if you remember back in like the actual PS3 or maybe even PS4 era, there was so many things that I couldn't play. I would just have to, like the meme of like Squidward looking outside. That's SpongeBob and Patrick.
Just
That was
looking
me
at them playing. Yeah.
just watching YouTubers play games, and I was like,
Well,
oh man, I really want to play that.
Yeah, and like you said, I don't think it's as prevalent as it was like years ago, because things catch up. Like, I mean, like Death Stranding 2 is coming to PC here soon. I saw that and stuff. So like there's a lot more cross-gen stuff, which I love. I love that kind of stuff. But also like that was me with like Skyrim. Like I'd see people playing with crazy Skyrim mod lists and things like that. I'm like, man, I wish I could play that. And it's like, now I can. And the same thing with like that Manor Lords game. I've been really interested in that since it came out, and haven't had a way to play it because it's only PC. I think they said they were gonna bring it to Xbox at some point, but they're a small studio, so it's been hard for them to translate it to that ecosystem.
I do think though that it sometimes is a little bit problematic, trying to balance the games on all the ecosystems, because some games you're like, wow, I wish I could play this handheld, you know? And then
Yeah,
you're like,
so
now
true.
if you've got a Switch, you're like, do I pay 30, 40,
Yes.
50, however many dollars to play this on the go when I
Yep,
already have
very
it somewhere
true.
else?
And I think that's you actually make a good argument for, like you said, like the Steam Deck or like any of those things too, because that's one of those things where it's like you could play it on PC and be like, I really want to play this handheld. And if you have a Steam Deck, you already have that thing that you can go play it on. Because PlayStation has the, what is it, the Portal? Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
The
Yep.
Portal, and that one's still is that one still cloud gaming?
Uh, yes, there is remote play, but I mean,
Okay.
the PS Vita did that. So,
Yeah, yep, I remember that. But yeah, I think that's probably like that's something I see kind of things going towards is like that kind of play anywhere type
yeah.
ecosystem where like if you own this on this, you could play it handheld if you want and things like that. Or like I've seen more and more games doing cross saves too.
Yeah. Like
Like with
Larian.
Baldur's Gate 3,
Yeah.
yeah, I could play my Xbox save on my PlayStation when I got that, and with Cyberpunk, they did that as well. I could continue on my Phantom Liberty save on a different console, which that's really cool.
Yeah, those are two great studios there that are
Yep.
totally like, they care about their fans and whatnot.
Yep, they listen. Yeah.
The one thing that's bad, no, not bad, but like that's a little bit whatever about the PS Portal is that actually you don't need this anymore, but before in the past you needed a PS5 to even do anything on the PS
Yeah,
Portal.
I do remember that was like a pretty somewhat recent update that happened,
Yeah,
wasn't it?
I
Where
think
they
it was
they
in the
made it
last
like its
year.
own thing. Yeah.
So now you can play the cloud library, but I mean you still need some pretty decent internet. So it's not like you can
Yeah.
play like at like an airport or something. It'd probably be pretty
Mhm.
bad.
Yeah.
If your whole thing is handheld gaming, we talked about the Steam Deck and all those sorts of flavors of stuff. So yeah, I think this is also a good segue into sampling games and
Yep.
how we are actually playing them right now.
Yeah, and with getting the PC, it was just a lot of trial and error, a lot of like just seeing what works, seeing what games it can handle, seeing what games I even want to play on it. And I haven't really sunk my teeth into a game super fully because I've just been kind of trying them out, which I think was good. Like I needed to do that. I needed to
Yeah.
go through, try a bunch of things out, see what I was into, and now I have that list. I have that exact list of what I want to dedicate my time with and everything. And I think what I've kind of realized is like it's only bad if you do too much of one thing. Like if you try to force yourself to only play this one thing at a time, you're probably going to get burnt out on it and you might end up not really enjoying the game that you're playing. And if you never dedicate your time into one and you just bounce around and sample the whole time, then you're never going to end up finishing something. So I think it's good to strike a balance between those two.
Yeah, and I think I kind of thought of this in my head. You're kind of playing like a buffet of games. You're sampling
Yeah.
them, and I think it's only natural because, like we just talked about, like you got a whole new gaming ecosystem full of things
Yeah.
that you've never seen before.
Yep.
Things that you couldn't play. And obviously,
Yep.
we're some gamers here. We like to play games, so it's only natural that you want to see, hey, what can my PC run? Like how?
Yeah.
And
Like
if you're
what are the
into,
limitations we got?
yeah, and if you're into like figuring out like it's an entirely different world seeing what games run well and how you can maximize the
Mhm.
quality, because a lot of them, a lot of games will like give you recommendations like, hey, if you want to try to run it medium settings, here you go.
Yeah.
High settings, here you go. Then you could do
Yeah.
custom settings and you can figure it out for yourself.
Yeah, and that's another thing coming over from being a primarily console gamer for most of my life. Like when I was a kid, I played on like our Windows Vista and like our Windows XP, and like
Dang.
I could maybe play like Minecraft at the lowest possible settings and get by. But it's a whole new world coming from console where, you just fire up the game, you put in the disc or whatever, and it just works. It just gets straight to work. You choose between performance or quality, and you just go in with it.
Yeah.
That has been definitely a big learning curve of I think there was a joke I heard somebody say, I forget where it was, but they said like, my most played game of all time is the settings menu because you're constantly dialing in exactly how you want this game to perform, and it's like, oh, I could lower shadow detail a little bit, or I could do this, I could bring this down a little bit, I can mess with the anti-aliasing, like things like that, getting it to work properly. And then on top of that, like, I have an AMD card in it,
Mm,
so the whole software that comes with AMD was super overwhelming at first, like going
yeah.
through, and it has like super resolution and, like all kinds of crazy things that I spent like the first week with my PC just learning it. Like it was like learning a new skill or a new tool because I had to figure out how to make this thing perform at its best.
That's awesome. Have you run into any like issues like not having an Nvidia card and having an
Hmm.
AMD? No?
No, not at all. Not so far.
That's cool though, because if you ever decide to make the switch in the future, like to Linux or anything, they are very much like they favor AMD. And I know
Cool.
that some Linux operating systems they have some issues working with NVIDIA GPUs and stuff, but
Yeah.
that's cool. Also, yeah, I want to say that that's kind of my biggest selling point right now. Why? I mean, not just that, but like the PC market is insane. Like trying to get
Yes. So
GPUs
true.
or the RAM prices right now because of the
Yep.
whole AI
Yep.
debacle. But it's just so cool. Like if you have a stressful day and you're like, "Ah, man, I just want to fire up a game. The last thing you want to do is have to go to Tinkertown and struggle
Yeah.
against your PC, you know?
That's so true. Yep. And I
So
think that's why, like, tying it back to like the ecosystem thing, that's why like I have delegated the PC to like these indies that I can't play anywhere else, these cool like double A games and modded of like older games, because I didn't have to tweak any settings to get Skyrim to run. Skyrim
yeah,
just runs ultra out the box because it's like a 14-year-old game, you know?
yeah. That's cool though. I mean, yeah, I guess it just depends. I guess maybe, getting into the right mindset before you sit down and play, like kind of know what you want to play.
Yep.
Because if you're not totally tech savvy, computer savvy, and you try to do that, you're gonna probably in for a headache. But
Yeah, especially with like you said, like a lot of really current gen like AAA titles. Like you have like FSR, and you have like all these different like frame gen things to play around with, and all kinds of more settings. And I think like I said, that's kind of why for now I've kind of delegated it to like modded older Bethesda games like Oblivion, Skyrim, Fallout, like with mods, and just some Steam games I can't play anywhere else, like and some games that I like to play better with a mouse and keyboard. Like there are definitely some games that I realize I like having a mouse and key. Like I started playing a little bit of Stardew Valley again on stream just as a cozy game. If a game has a menu like that, like an inventory, like Minecraft or like
mhm.
those types of games, I like to be able to click on the things and not
Yeah,
use like my arrow keys on the controller. And I've also realized that with Bethesda games, I like having a mouse and keyboard for those too, for like first person games. Also, for the simple fact that like I can adjust the field of view in
oh
Skyrim.
yeah,
That field of view
that's
is
nice.
so tight on console, and it gives me headaches sometimes. Like as much as I love those Bethesda games, the combination of using a controller and the really compact field of view, it messes with me sometimes. So moving back over to the PC, which is where I spent a lot of time playing these games on before I got like my new consoles,
Hmm.
it's been kind of nice. It's made me realize like, I actually do like these kind of first person games on a mouse and keyboard. And for my consoles, I like, third person games like Witcher, like the Soul. I would never play a Souls game with a mouse and keyboard. I don't think. I think I would only ever play those in control, or like Rockstar games.
Yeah, I think with that, I think a good kind of topic we can kind of go over is, we have right now, this day and age, we have access to so many different games. Like I just talked about the
Mm-hmm.
PS3, the PS5, the Switch 2. You got a Switch, you got a PC. Like we have access to so many games, and I think that kind of dives really good into the right time kind of game.
Yeah.
When a game, sort of bounces off you, but later becomes a favorite or something.
Yes,
I think
absolutely.
that's totally valid because I think a lot of people feel like it's almost bad because they try to boot up a game and it's just not clicking for them.
Hmm.
They have multiple games they're trying to play, but one keeps pulling them, away. And I think
Yeah.
totally you have to lean into that game. When a game
Yes.
calls you and you're loving it,
Yes.
don't ignore that because,
Yeah.
another time in life it might not hit the same. And
That's so
those
true.
those games can totally, in another opportunity, another time of life, like those games might actually call your name that time.
Yeah, I'm a very like vibes based gamer. Like, and I think that's why the whole like buffet analogy and things like that works because 9 times out of 10, there is always one that I get home from work and instantly like my gut reaction is I
Oh
want to
yeah.
play this. And I always try to go for that one because I always have the best time. If I go with what I'm most interested in, what I'm most ready to sink my teeth into. And I think that's one of the things that like you can't really force that, because
Yeah.
tying it back to it being like the right time, forcing that can really kill the experience for you. Like I remember back, I think it was at the beginning of last year, I had just finished Baldur's Gate 3, which was, super intense narrative driven RPG with a bunch of systems. And I thought that I wanted another one, like right
Mm-hmm.
after it. So I went back to go try and finish and really get into Dragon Age Origins. And I played it for a few days and I realized I was kind of just going from like point A to point B, not really thinking about the story, and I was like, pause, okay, hold on. This is not how I should be playing this game. This game deserves more of my attention than I can give it right now. So I went over, played some other smaller games, and came back months later, and it ended up being one of my favorite games I've ever played.
That's awesome. And you totally don't want to like try to force yourself to play a game or
No.
rush through it. This is supposed to be your
Yeah.
time, your free time, so you should be having a blast when you play these
Yeah.
games.
And if I would have forced myself just to power through Dragon Age Origins, I would be completely singing a different tune about
Yeah.
that game than I do because I played it at a time that I needed it. And it was incredible. The story was great. The characters are some of my favorite companion banter happens in that game. Like, it was just so funny to bring different companions along and hear them like
Yeah.
talk to each other and argue with each other. It was so great. But when I first started playing it, I wasn't like paying attention to any of that because I was so burnt out from this major multi-100-hour story I just put like the last few months of my life into with Baldur's Gate 3. So I needed a palate cleanser.
Yeah, and I think also I do want to say I watched Gummy, our buddy Gummy's one of his latest videos, and he was talking about how he kind of was upset because he really wanted to play Final Fantasy X, but it just wasn't, hitting at that time. And I
Yeah.
think he kind of felt bad because he knows the renown that the game has.
Yes.
It's very much like people love that game. I mean,
Yeah.
all the Final Fantasy games definitely have their fan base, but
Yep.
it, if that's the case, it's okay. You can come
Yeah,
back to it a
that's
different time, and
yeah.
if you don't ever get to it, that's
Yeah.
fine too.
That's so cool too. Yeah, I think that's a big thing that we all have is like I think it happens with more than just games too. Like it happens with movies and TV and you'll be like, why am I not enjoying said thing as much as this large group of people are? And it's like, maybe that's just not your thing and that's okay. And I think that opinions get very loud on the internet and it's really easy to feel bad for having a different opinion than like the majority. But it's also completely okay because like I said, like games should be just vibes based. Like if you're not vibing with it, this is your free time. This is your sacred time to yourself after work, after whatever. So do it spending time playing what you want, not what you feel like you should be playing.
Yeah, and I talked earlier about how my wife got me Hades 2. I put like I think 20 hours into Hades 1, which is pretty
Mhm.
good. I think most people beat it in that time. But I
Mhm.
didn't technically beat the game. I kept getting to the last boss,
Yeah.
and I hate Yeah, let me not say who it is. But if you haven't played it, you are consistently trying to get to the end, right? You
Yeah.
you go through the same stages over and over and over.
Mm-hmm.
And I made it to the last boss, and I I don't know. I just put it down for a while, and I was like,
Yeah.
well, I kind of feel like I did beat the game. Like I already know
Yeah.
what happens, and so I kind of felt bad, like actually trying to play Hades 2. For a long time, I didn't think I deserved to play it. I was like, you didn't beat Hades 1, so you can't play Hades 2.
Yeah.
I did. I think the game ends when you say it ends, though, because I had a
Yes.
great time with Hades 1, and I was like, I kind of want more of that, but a different
Yep.
story, new characters, and
Yeah.
I'm excited to play it.
Yeah, and I think each of us should put the finish line wherever we want it. It shouldn't be whether the internet says you finished it, whether you got the platinum, whether you even rolled credits necessarily. Like you said, I think it really comes back to like the game is done when you're done with it. You don't have like if you feel like you got
Yeah.
what you wanted out of that experience, that's totally cool. And there's been some games that I've played that I've never finished that are like favorites of mine.
Yeah. I think that's cool, and very much like that game is one that I totally think you can sort of put down when you think it's time to put it
Yeah.
down.
Well, because it's, mostly a roguelite and just
Yeah.
fighting the different bosses and playing around with the different weapons, and stuff like that. Which I think I kind of got to that point. I never finished Hades either, but I played a lot of Hades. I really enjoyed like the art style, the soundtrack, dude. Oh my
Yeah.
God. I loved
Ooh.
everything about it and just had such a great time with it. But I never finished it, but I had a great time with that game.
Yeah, Supergiant is another great studio, another great
Yes.
developers. Actually, what came in the Switch 2, the actual case was the Hades 2 soundtrack, so that was cool.
Oh, that's super cool.
Yeah, I ripped that and I got it on my phone, and I was
Nice.
thinking about putting it on my PS3 just because.
Yeah, dude.
And honestly, like the PS3, dude, it sounds great. To be honest,
Yeah.
it really is good. But I think that I talked about, what was in the case of Hades 2. That would be a good sort of segue as well. I know we did talk about this a bit last time, but you have added a few more games to your physical library, right?
Yes. Well, not really besides those two that I picked up, but I do have a physical library now,
Okay.
whereas I didn't before. But the two that I picked up for sure that I have in my hands is Final Fantasy 16, which I've played a little bit of, and Last of Us Part 1, which I've played multiple times and beat multiple times, but I'm ready to dive back into that one too. So yes, I'm
Yeah.
slowly starting my physical collection. I also have two copies of Skyrim. I have my PS4 copy from
Nice.
back in the day and the Switch copy too.
Dude, I've been thinking about, should I get this Skyrim on the PS3?
That was my introduction to that game, man.
Yeah,
Was
mine
PS3
too.
Skyrim.
I don't even know how that would run. Probably crash like a
we
bunch.
we put up with a lot more back then, didn't we?
Yeah, even just playing Kingdoms of Amalur, like the 30 FPS. But like,
Yeah,
I think you get adjusted to it, right? I think a
you
good
do.
thing
Yeah.
to, like, no matter what you're playing, I think if you're a gamer and you appreciate games, like, maybe within like 5 to 10 minutes, you start to get immersed in the game again. Because,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't know.
That constantly happens to me with like Red Dead Redemption 2, which still is 30 FPS like on the PS5 and stuff. When I first start playing it, I'm like, "Oh, this is a lot to adjust to." And like you said, like 10 minutes in, I'm like I'm just playing it like I used to. Like it's crazy how quickly our brains catch up with that. But I think where you really notice the difference is when you're jumping around from like 60, 100 plus
Yeah.
FPS games to, like those 30 FPS games. But I think back and like, you know, 80% of my gaming life has been at 30 FPS when I really look
Oh,
back
yeah.
at it. Like most of
100%.
the best gaming experience, and probably less, when we're really talking about it, I know Skyrim wasn't a solid 30
Oh,
on
no.
that PS3 back in the day.
I used to play DayZ on a basically like a Chromebook or something. I don't even know. It was
Wow.
totally like it was a beat up, like used and abused laptop, and I just tried so hard. I didn't care if I got it running. I didn't care
Yep.
about how far my uh of the map it was rendering in. I didn't care. I
Yep.
just liked playing it. I
Yep.
think you can tell that we're not like some gaming purists
No, not at
settings.
all.
We just like
No.
playing games and sharing our experiences.
Yep. Yep. Like I know, like for instance, like we talked about with the PC stuff, there's probably more I could do to get out of this PC. But it's
Yeah.
working for me. And it's working for me at the level it is. And as long as I get it to a stable point, I'm cool. I don't need to be pumping out the most frames per second. I don't need to be doing that. If it's running good and like maybe I'll get some stutters here and there, that's cool. That really doesn't take me out of the experience as long as it's running. Like bringing it back to what you said, I remember there was a time where we were moving around and we were living in an apartment at the time. And so I didn't have a TV and the only way I could game was on this like old Dell laptop. And I was playing my Steam version of Skyrim on that at like
Nice.
a solid like 12 to 17 FPS. And I put like 60 hours into that. Like I had such a good
That's
time. And I was
awesome.
like I had like the draw distance, everything as low as it could possibly go. And I still played it cuz I just was having a good time. And it's like I think like you said it really goes to show that like it really isn't 100% about performance. And I think a lot of us can get caught up in that too. Like, I think there's a difference between things performing poorly because they're just not well optimized, which that's a whole different story.
Yep.
And
Yep.
like I said, going back to just like some of my favorite gaming experiences were like I said, I know Skyrim ran so bad on the PS3. I knew it was the first game I ever had that like crashed and I didn't care. I didn't care at all.
Yeah, I do think there's something to be said. Probably should, go back to what I said for a second. There is no excuse for obviously developers who they want your money and they
Yep.
push out a game that is terribly
Yes.
optimized or just flat out doesn't work or run. Like that is
Yep.
unacceptable. But I'm just
Exactly.
talking about tinkering, and if the game runs well enough and there's a few issues and bugs, then I'm happy regardless. If I can stay immersed and just enjoy my time, and because at the end of the day, this hobby is just meant to be enjoyed. Like if you're having
Yep.
fun, then who cares what everybody else is doing, right? Like I
Yep.
don't need to be running Minecraft at 240 FPS. Like
Yeah, exactly.
yeah, but yeah, I don't know. What do you think?
Well, I think it also is like, I think me and you are in a different space than a lot of people are too. Because mostly when I see about like the getting the most frames out of it, it's like competitive shooter stuff like that. Like you want the most frames you can get
Yeah.
because that can cost you, the competitive edge that you have. And being not really the biggest competitive gamer, like I still jump into like arc raiders and stuff with buddies or like things like that, but I'm not like not a Call of Duty guy. I'm not an esports guy. Like I don't need it to be as long as I'm like hitting 60 and
Yeah.
it's like staying around them that on the PC, I'm good. Like that's all I need.
Yeah, I think Resident Evil 4 remake, it looks and plays phenomenal on the
Yep.
PS5. And actually, not to contradict myself or anything, but I was getting the Generations pack, the bundle 789 Resident Evil 789 for
Mhm.
the Nintendo Switch 2 because they had a cool sort of promotion for the Switch 2 that they didn't have anywhere else. But
Mhm.
I actually ended up canceling that the other day because I was just enjoying Resident Evil 4 remake on the PS5 so much and it looked so
Yeah.
pretty and I was like I want to play these games on the PS5. I also just wanted to
Yeah.
keep expanding my physical collection with the PS5 because those 789 on the Switch 2 were game key cards. So
Yeah.
um I wanted to have the data and the game, stuff on the actual disc itself. So
Yeah, that's totally valid too. I don't think that really contradicts anything you're saying because I really do think there are just certain games that are like they make those in mind to be played on like a nice screen or like a nice
yeah.
TV. Like they pump up the graphics to make it look pretty, and I think it's like those are the type of games that you do want to experience because they're cinematic. Like when it really
Totally.
comes down to the Resident Evil games, they're a very cinematic third person game.
Hmm. Yeah, they're not really one that I had to think. I sit down with myself and be like, am I actually gonna play Resident Evil 7 like handheld? I'm like, probably not. So I
You're
was
like, like screaming in a coffee shop or
yeah,
something.
spilling my coffee on me. My legs are burning. No, but yeah, I probably would have played those games straight up just docked anyways. So
Yeah,
I was like,
true.
let me just get this on the PS5. And also that kind of goes into the headache of the multiple gaming ecosystems too, you
Yeah,
know? Like
yeah,
what do I get it on? What do I And what is cool though is that the Switch 2 as small as it is, the optimization is there for a lot of games and it, I'm assuming it's going to run pretty well, but for me personally, I just wanted to take that over to the PS5.
yeah. I think, like you said, that's a good. And I think that, like you said, it does tie back to the gaming ecosystems and about the more you play with these systems, the more you realize what each one does best, like what the strengths and weaknesses are for each thing, and what I delegate to each different ecosystem. And like you said, like a good cinematic third person game that I probably want on my PS5. Like that's my AAA box. That's where I play my Death Strandings. That's where I play the God of Wars, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really care to play those on PC because for me, PC is like my modular system. Like that's where I can play games with mods. It's where I can
Yeah, like a
play games that I can't
sandbox.
play anywhere. Yeah, it's like my sandbox like thing. Whereas the PlayStation is where I play the AAA stuff, and the Switch is for just my cozy game. Like I have Stardew Valley on there. I have Skyrim on there. The stuff I can bring with me when I travel.
Yeah.
And I think like I said, as you play more, you kind of learn what each ecosystem does well for itself. And I think like you said, with you canceling that order and going, no, I actually do want to play this on this. I think that's like the whole sign of like you learning what ecosystem does what each thing does best.
Yeah. And it's also just so magical right now. I've just been pulled into this whole universe of the Resident Evil series, and I talked
That's the
about in
best.
one of my videos. Just I didn't think it was for me, and for a long time I've known about Resident Evil, like literally probably my whole life, gaming, but I just wasn't into it, and I never really liked scary games, quote unquote scary
Yeah,
games. But it is so much more than that. I actually love probably the most. Is the puzzles and stuff and just
yeah,
trying to figure out what I need to do to advance to the next area because I don't know, the games they make you think and
yeah.
it's really fun.
Yeah, that video did, like, I'm kind of in the same boat as you, and I think you approached it from an angle that really resonated with me because I'm not really a horror gamer either. Like, I like games with horror elements. Like, I love Bloodborne and like different games that have like scary themes. But like
Yeah.
the last horror game I played that I really got into was like the original Dead Space, like before the remake came out.
Ooh,
I
yeah.
played that
Yeah.
when I was younger, and I that was like the coolest thing ever. But I still play them very few and far between. And actually, with one of my friends at the time, we both kind of like sat next to each other and passed the controller and played Resident Evil Village.
Oh, yeah.
And that was a blast. And I didn't think I really was a big Resident Evil person, but that game, like, I really enjoyed that whole game. And like I said, we would pass the controller like every
Yeah.
level because he was the one that owned it. So we
That's
just played on his big TV and just, we were roommates at the time and just experienced that whole game together.
oh, that's awesome. That was Resident Evil 8.
Yes, 8. Yeah.
Yeah.
And another one is like the Last of Us series. I've always been a big
Ooh,
fan
yeah.
of, which are horror games, but are also much more like a story type game and like following
Yeah.
just this story. And I've always been a big fan of those too. But I think I'm more picky with horror games and like horror movies and stuff than I am like other forms of media because like I'm just not the biggest in general. So it's got to have something else for me, and the whole puzzle aspect of Resident Evil is so cool. And I think that's one of the coolest things about that franchise is like just the like whole puzzle solving aspect of it and the tension they create in those levels.
Yeah, totally. And Something that's cool is that on my PlayStation 3 as well, I did get Resident Evil 5 and 6. So I'm kind of going back in
Cool.
time to experience the future of the
Yeah.
series, which is pretty cool. I know 5 and 6, especially 5 is meant to be played like co-op, but I'll have to ride the struggle bus with the AI that
Yeah.
I get just for
Yep.
the story.
Yep.
But oh, I am so I did get 7, 8, and 9, right? But I do want to play 5
Hmm.
and 6 first. So I will get those games and I am very excited to play 7, 8, and 9 and not as excited to play 5 and 6, but
Yeah.
I I'm hopefully I'm in for a good surprise, but I want to stay true to the series. But totally if it's not sticking with me, then I'll probably just advance the story.
Yep. Yep. That's what happens. And that's the thing too, is like, with me, I've been kind of dipping my toes into Final Fantasy,
Mm,
and playing around with Final Fantasy 7 and Final Fantasy 16, and you see these numbers, and it gets really overwhelming at first because you're like, where do I jump in? Do I need to play from the start?
yeah.
Like those types of questions. It's like, no, you don't. Especially Final Fantasy. It's one of those franchises you can really jump in wherever because they're all self-contained
Yep.
stories. But that's been a really fun franchise to kind of dip my toes in.
Yeah, the only thing you have to worry about is sometimes when the game does so well that they get like a sequel, right? Like
Yes,
remake,
true.
rebirth, and then reunion.
Yeah. Yeah, like I probably wouldn't have played Rebirth
No,
before,
no.
finishing Remake.
Yeah. But those are some great games too. I was
Yeah.
totally on the Final Fantasy wave, but then I kind of went headstrong into the Resident Evil series.
Yep.
But I think that's just the magic of owning these multiple ecosystems and having that choice, which can become a headache, but also at the end of the day, it's just, like you said, kind of understanding I do want to play this on this system.
Yeah. And I think too, it's like it's something that nobody can like tell you or tell you how to do it. It's something you learn for yourself where it's like, ah, yes, this is now like I still have an Xbox Series S that I don't really play as much anymore, but everything that's installed on that is all 360 games. So I have like all the old Call of Duties, I have all the old Halos, the old Gears of War games, because that's what
Yeah,
that box is to me. It's like the retro box with all the backwards compatible games. So if I want some nostalgia, I fire that thing up. That's my nostalgia box. And for a while, when I got my PS5, I was like, well, what do I play what on? Because I still had Game Pass. So
hmm,
I would play quite a few games through like the Xbox. And then I just realized, like, no, I think I just want the Series S to be my like nostalgia box. So if I want to play some Star Wars Battlefront 2, I fire that up, like
that's so cool.
it's all about learning what each ecosystem does right for you.
Yeah, I think that's where I will give Xbox some credit. I don't own any like Microsoft products like hardware like that, but
Hmm.
um yeah, you can play games all the way back to like Xbox original, right?
Yeah.
That
Yep.
is so cool. And then PS5 is totally just like, nah, you could play PS4.
Yeah, and
But
and especially with like if you want to play anything before that, you have to do like the cloud gaming stuff, which
yeah,
just doesn't always run well. But with those Xbox games, like I was playing Fallout 3 at like I think they upscaled it. Like with some of those backwards compatible games, they've upscaled them to like up to 4K and they run at 60 FPS. So it
oh,
almost looks like a soft remaster. And like I could play Oblivion at 60 FPS, so it's like not only are these the classics, but they're also running better because it takes advantage of the hardware, which is like you said, to their credit, that's super cool.
yeah, that is really cool. I so I did show you. I think I showed you. I also got. It's on the way, but Fallout New Vegas for the PS3,
Yeah,
the Ultimate
that's so
Edition.
fun.
So
Yep.
the good thing about that is that all the DLC lives on the
Yep.
disc, so that I don't have to
Oh,
deal
that's
with the
nice.
PS3 store because
Yeah.
I don't know how it's still alive, but the PS3 store is still alive, but
That's
it is
crazy.
extremely slow and it is so hard to navigate and the prices are crazy. Like a
Yeah,
game is like $60 on there. I'm like, what?
that's
I could
wild.
just go get this at the flea market for like
Yep.
$2.
Yep. Yeah, and New Vegas is definitely one of those games you want those DLCs with. Those DLCs are so good, man.
Yeah, I actually haven't even played like a full playthrough of New Vegas probably since the PS3.
Nice.
Actually, no, I had it on the Xbox 360 actually. So
Yeah. That's definitely one of the games I'm going to pick up on Steam whenever it goes on sale or anything, but I feel like they're not putting it on sale cuz there's still a lot of people purchasing it right now from the Fallout TV show. So I bet they're making a killing on that game right now, but
oh
I
yeah.
love Fallout New Vegas so much. I actually played it. I played it for the first time when I was really young and I like didn't really get that type of game, so it took me a while to figure things out.
Yeah.
And I think I rented it too, so I didn't even own it. But then years later, it was like a few years ago, my little brother started like messaged me and told me that he was starting up a playthrough of New Vegas, and I was like, this is the sign. So like every week we would like get in a Discord call and we would talk about our playthroughs, and it was just so good. And that's one of my favorite Fallouts like to this day because of that whole experience.
That's so cool. Like a little book club almost.
It was. It
With your
really
brother.
was. He'd be like, "Oh, I did this quest for the NCR," or like, "I did this." It was so cool.
I remember playing Fallout New Vegas and thinking it was like the biggest, most expansive world that I've ever
Yeah,
seen, like ever.
yeah,
What's cool is that you can basically interact with like all NPCs and they have
yeah,
something to say to you, right?
yeah. They're very fleshed out.
Yeah, and apparently that game was like super rushed, right?
Yep.
And like,
I think it was like 18 months or something like that.
yeah,
I
that's
want to say that Obsidian made that game in just wild.
dude. Just imagine like a fully fleshed out New Vegas, how that
I
would have
know.
been.
I know. Which there's actually like there's a couple mods for it like on the PC end that are like one of them is like the Josh Sawyer expansion mod, which he was one of the directors for New Vegas, so he actually
Oh,
expands on some of the elements. It's not like anything crazy, but it's just some like tweaks that like, he would have added if they had a little bit more time.
yeah, some quality of life stuff.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about I think it's our last topic, right? The cozy setup and how creating an intentional, comfortable space matters, and just,
Yes.
not just for gaming, but your creative space and just feeling good, right?
Yeah. Like just having a setup that you are happy to come home to, like a clean space that's just like delegated just to that, I think is so important. And for a while, I was kind of just using whatever I had, like when I was making content, I was kind of just using the kitchen table or using a different area of the house or something like that. And I really put time into this year to getting a good desk, getting a good monitor, getting a space where I can sit down and journal and I can sit down and write scripts and cozy with warm lighting. I have candles, everything. And every time that I get home from work, I am like so happy to step into that space. It's like a breath of fresh air. Like I just sit down and like, a clear, clean, not cluttered space is just so important to, I think it goes into like the distraction side too. Like when I sit down, I'm like ready to game. Like the space is all ready for me, just waiting for me to fire something up. There's
Yeah.
nothing in the way of that. I just sit down, boot something up and kick back. And it's like, that is my safe haven. And I think that's so important for your mind.
Yeah, so I'm actually recording from my little Carl's corner here.
Yeah.
um I've created this space over time, and it didn't happen overnight. Like a lot of the things that I got over the years, but I think no matter what you have and what your budget is like, it's just putting time and effort into the space you wish to create with what you have, because
Oh, yeah.
I think that's the most important thing, is just being intentional and
Yep.
loving your space, and just building it up to what you wanted
Yeah.
to give to you.
I think you made a great point with the budget aspect of it too, because I am such a budget kind of person. Like this desk that I got was on sale for like $60. So
Nice,
like I
nice.
I think the most expensive thing in the setup is the PC. So
Yeah.
everything I did, like I have this little like lamp that like can change colors just by you like touching the top. I think that was like $12 on Amazon.
Hmm.
I have these pretty cheap shelves, but it works and it looks good. And I used an old dresser as like the back for like where I have my monitor and stuff. And you don't need like this crazy insane, multi-hundred like $1,000 setup to make it your own space. Like just get you a little desk, get you a lamp, get you a candle, and
Yeah.
just make it your, and surround it with little like knickknacks and things that you like, and just make it like a reflection of you. And I think, and just having that little space that's like a part of your personality, that's a reflection of what you're going through and your interests, is just, it's super cool. It's super cool to make it yours.
Yeah, you don't need like a Herman Miller
No, no.
$3,000 reclining chair
Yep.
to have a good space. Just like you
Exactly.
said, a reflection of you, and just know
Yep.
that it is going to be fluid and probably change over time.
Yeah.
It is going to continue to be a reflection of you. And what's also cool is that I kind of have different setups for different things. Right now, I'm playing my PS5 in the living room,
Yeah.
and so some games like they just look big, they just look better on a bigger screen, and I feel
Absolutely.
more
Yeah.
immersed like that.
Yes.
Um, so I think that that can give you a totally different sense of perspective too. Maybe if you're kind of getting burnt out over maybe just like a space or a spot, maybe try playing somewhere else. Try
Yeah.
playing something handheld. Try playing
Oh yeah.
something on a big TV or a monitor, sitting down,
Yeah.
whatever.
A change of scenery can do so much. Like you said, moving from like a monitor to a big screen, or like for instance, like with the weather warming up, like there have been some evenings that I've sat outside like on their swing, like out back, and just fired up Skyrim on the Switch and just like had my tea and
That's
just
so
sat
cool.
there out back with Skyrim with like the birds and wind and all that stuff. And it's
Nice.
great. And I think it's like, I think that's a really good point too, is like a lot of times like it's crazy how fast things become mundane
Yep.
or normal, not even just mundane but normalized. Like I remember when I first got this monitor, that first week was like seeing through new eyes. You know what I mean? I was like, man, I've never seen games
Yeah.
this sharp before, because I had a pretty bog standard like $150 like Roku TV from Walmart. And it's crazy how fast I adjusted to it. Like I said, for that first week, it was like mind blowing. I couldn't believe the colors and the detail I was seeing. And now it's just normal. Like this is what I use every day now. So it's been very normalized. And I try to go back to remind myself, like, how even just a few weeks ago, I was on a crappy $100 TV that like had gray streaks when I'd turn too fast and like things like that. And it looked so muddy and everything. And I try to recognize that.
Yeah. I can't figure out the quote right now, but it was from a famous Stoic as well, who kind of just referenced that he never actually drank expensive wine because he never wanted to acquire a taste for it. And
Ah, yeah.
I think it was Masonius Rufus, I believe,
Hmm.
but it might not be. But I do think that there is something to be learned there. I think chasing the best stuff, chasing the best specs, chasing the greatest hardware, and
Yeah.
constantly trying to keep up with the rat race of I need my PC or my setup to be the most ideal and productive setup. It's
Yeah. Yeah.
You're going to just chase a vision that never
Yeah.
actually exists. So
Or like, if I get this thing, then I'll be
then you'll
good.
be
Like,
happy.
then I'll be happy. And it's
Yeah.
like, that's why, like I said, I try to look back a lot and go like, well, look what I was doing with so much less.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't matter how new your stuff is, how much stuff you have. Um, because like I was still doing just as much with less. And I think it's good to look back and go like, no, wow, like look how far I have stepped up my setup, stepped up my desk. Like I have a space to just write now, and like
Yeah.
it's so important, I think, to look back and remember like, no, I have come this far, and like there isn't like a next thing that's gonna like solve everything, or like, finally get me back into gaming, or like whatnot. It's like if I get a new monitor, I'll be, then I'll be
Yeah.
good.
It's like I totally want like an OLED TV, but I'm not gonna spend $5,000 to
Yeah.
see the dark black colors, you know?
Yeah. And it's like, how much is that really gonna revolutionize your gaming
Yeah.
experience? You know what I mean? Like, you really, it's like the cost to what it will actually do value. And then that goes back to like how fast our brains normalize things. It's like you have that OLED for a few weeks, and then it's just, that's your normal, like that's your standard
Yeah.
now. Like, that's the norm.
Or even on the opposite side, like we talked about earlier, playing the PS3, I'm immersed 5 to 10
Yeah.
minutes. The
Yep.
graphics don't really hurt me that much. I'm playing
Yeah.
Kingdoms of Amalur, and I'm like, dude, this is so fun. Like,
Yeah.
so I think that that's also a great thing about the retro. Yeah, I just threw retro in front of
It is. It is
retro
retro.
consoles though, like a PS1, PS2, PS3.
Yep.
Is just kind of having a deeper appreciation for the new games, because when I went back to Resident Evil 4 remake, I was like, wow, this looks like legit real life.
Yeah.
After playing Kingdoms of Amalur on PS3.
Yeah.
Obviously, I do appreciate the art direction though. Like, obviously, they weren't going for stunning real graphics.
Yes.
I can really appreciate when a game has a crazy good art direction.
Yes.
And on the surface, if you saw Kingdoms of Amalur, you wouldn't think that it was a mature rated M game.
Yeah,
But
that's true.
when it pops
It
off,
almost
you're
looks
like,
a little
"What?"
like Fable-esque.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, so many good games. Not
So
enough
many
time,
good
man.
games.
So I think that's kind of it, unless you have any other things you want to say.
Yeah, I think that about wraps up everything that we were going to talk about, and if you guys want to leave some comments, we love reading those. And if you guys have any specific questions you want answered, like, we'd love to do that. This is seriously one of my favorite pieces of content to do. I love just getting together with you, dude, and just talking about what we've been up to. Like, it's so great. It's so great to share we have such similar views, I think, and experiences with gaming, even though we like fall into different avenues of it, that I just love getting your perspective on these things, man.
Yeah, I likewise. And honestly, just this community in general is just so cool. Just being able
Yep.
to talk about something that we, equally care and share interest
Yep.
in, but also able to do it in just a different point of view, and kind of come together and talk about that and discuss. And me and you, like, yeah, we totally hit it off when we kind of met each other, and we've got so
Yep.
much in common. And it's always a blast doing these podcasts, but also just talking to you in general, man. So I really
Yep.
appreciate it.
Thanks, dude. I appreciate it too. And like you said about the community, I think we've found a very cool corner of the internet that I honestly needed to be reminded exists, because there's a lot of negativity out there right now. And just going to our comments, going to our video comments, and just seeing all these people just like enjoying this stuff is just so inspiring to me. And I get endlessly inspired by people's comments. And it's just, like I said, it's great to see a whole corner of the internet where people are just excited again. I love to see it.
Yeah, I couldn't say anything better myself. So
Yep. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching another episode of the Pause Menu. Like I said, this is one of my favorite things that I get to work on, and we'll see you guys in the next one.
peace.